Okay, in this video I'm going to show you the last adjustment that we use for photo retouching. It's called our curves adjustment. So to get started, let's go and get down F5, which is a photo of the crowd. And we'll download this and then we'll open it in Photoshop. Okay, so with photo retouching and using adjustments, we do have a variety of options. I've talked about the brightness contrast and I've talked about the color balance. One of the most popular ones to use and one of the easiest ones to use, I would say, is something called our curves adjustment. So the curves adjustment is on the first row in the very center. It looks like a little histogram with a line running through it. Go ahead and click on that to get your curves adjustment layer. And the cool thing about the curves adjustment is that it combines a variety of different adjustments that I didn't show you, but have really great capabilities. So some of those are the curves combines the brightness contrast. It also combines something called the levels adjustment and also something called the vibrance. So it actually combines three different ones together. And so that's the reason I don't show you those other ones, simply because the curves can do all three. So why just do one, do a curve or do a brightness contrast, do a vibrance, do a levels when you can do one and none. So with the curves adjustment, we have this histogram here. And the thing I always remind my students to do is you always want to start from the middle point. So you can see that when you hover over the line, your cursor is going to change to the crosshair. And so we want to click, and what it's going to do is it's going to pick up that line. And you can see as you start to move it, what starts to happen to the image. Now, when you use your curves adjustment, what you really want to do is you want to drag your mouse over to the line of the histogram and you want to follow that line. So you don't want to go and put your point way over here because you can see that actually overexposes your image. That's too much. Same thing where you don't want to put it down here. Obviously, we can't see anything. So what we want to do is we want to follow the line of the histogram. And sometimes it doesn't take very much. If you pull all the way up here, clearly that doesn't look like the best image. So sometimes it doesn't even take very much. You can still see your center line. I'm going to pull just a little bit further up here and then drop it. And you can see I only move just this little bit right here. But as I tuck my properties back in and hide and show my curve layer, it was enough to not only brighten that image, but it also adjusted the vibrance. You can see that it is, the colors are more vibrant than in this image. They're a little darker and a little dull. And so it combined all of those together. The one thing that the curve adjustment does not do is it does not adjust your color. So notice that if this was a yellowed image, it would still be yellow. It would just be brighter. Or if you needed to turn it down, you could darken it. But it's not going to take out any of that yellow color. The only reason you can do that is using the color balance. So I'm just going to show you that one more time because sometimes people get a little tripped out by the curves adjustment. So we turn it on. Remember to grab from the center to start with, and then bring your cursor down and only move along the histogram. So some histograms, this one's actually a pretty stable histogram. I mean, you just have this one solid line. Some of them will actually jig and jag all over the place. Same concept, you just want to follow that line of the histogram. That's going to give you the best adjustment possible. And so there you have it. That's the curve adjustment. Again, you would do a file save as, and then when you do that, because of the fact that you have layers, it's going to default to a Photoshop file. If you feel like you don't need to adjust anymore, feel free to save it as a JPEG, or if you feel like you do need to edit again, save it as a Photoshop file so you keep your layers. Okay, you can close that one down, and we will head now into photo retouching for eyes and for faces.